What's going on, my fellow rock and rollers? Don't forget to smash the bell notification icon to be notified every time I put out a new video on my channel. Now, one of the strangest feuds and tours I've come across involved two bands who seem diametrically opposed. I'm of course talking about the Screaming Trees and Oasis. And the two bands would tour together in 1996, and the tour was a disaster from the beginning, and both bands failed to make it through all the scheduled dates. Hell, one of the band's frontmen didn't even show up for the first show, and on top of that, both groups' frontmen would feud in person and in the press. Stay tuned to find out the full story. The story really came to light this year when former Screaming Trees frontman Mark Lanegan released his latest book titled Sing Backwards and Weep. In the book, he discusses the 1996 tour that the Screaming Trees opened for Oasis on. Also joining the tour as an opener was the Manic Street Preachers. It sounds like a pretty sweet billing, doesn't it? And you may be wondering, how the hell did these bands get put together on the same bill? Well, all three bands were signed to Epic Records in the US, so from a business point of view, it made sense to the label. Oasis was promoting their sophomore record, What's the Story, Morning Glory, while the Screaming Trees were promoting Dust. In his book, Lanegan would praise guitarist Noel Gallagher for being, as he put it, the true genius behind Oasis, and for treating the Screaming Trees and their crew well on tour, but he wasn't at a loss of words when it came to describing frontman Liam Gallagher. Both singers got off to the wrong foot when Liam met backstage with Lanegan, claiming that the Oasis singer mocked the Screaming Trees, referring to them as the Howling Branches. Lanegan responded by saying, "F off, you stupid idiot." The Screaming Trees were supposed to open for Oasis on a 13-day tour through the US, but with 5 shows left, Liam cancelled the tour. At least that's what Lanegan would claim. Lanegan claimed the tour was cancelled because he challenged Liam to a fight when they were supposed to meet up again in Miami, but the Miami date would be cancelled. Lanegan would write in his book, "I detested bullies and refused to put up with them. Liam Gallagher was an obvious poser, a playground bully. Like all bullies, he was a total pussy. He had quit and bailed before I could have a go at him, before his promised playground battle royale in Miami. Typical, I thought," Lanegan would say. To be fair, there's two sides to every story, and Liam Gallagher responded to the allegations in Lanegan's book by going on Twitter and saying, "Mark Lanegan, here's how I saw it. I asked you your band's name, I was effing around and called it something else. You being an uptight junkie and not having a sense of humor got your little grungy knickers in a twist. Another bullshitter trying to sell a book," he'd say. Now we'll get back to the tweets and the ugliness that ensued following Liam's tweet later on in the video, so be sure to stay tuned till the very end. Now, it was reported that it wasn't Liam who actually cancelled Oasis's tour in 1996, but his brother and guitarist Noel Gallagher, who was simply tired of dealing with his brother's antics. Classic Rock magazine reported on the band's show at the Jones Beach Amphitheater in New York City, which was the second last date of the tour before it was cancelled. Now, by this point in time, tensions were already running high in Oasis. Prior to the group kicking off their American tour, the band recorded their MTV Unplugged performance in England. The problem was that Liam didn't partake in the performance, as he claimed he had a sore throat. He would still show up to the taping and heckle his brother from the audience. Now, Noel would handle the vocal duties that night, and according to Noel, his brother didn't have a sore throat, instead claiming Liam was, as he put it, shit-faced. Once Oasis landed in the US to kick off their tour, Liam didn't even show up for the first show in Chicago because he decided to go house hunting with his then-wife Patsy Kensit instead. Noel would once again fill in on lead vocals, and Liam wouldn't join the band on tour until their next show in Detroit. During the band's tour, they also made an appearance at the MTV Music Awards, and Liam was up to his usual shenanigans once again. This appearance would go down as one of the band's most memorable performances, and it would generate a lot of controversy. The band would perform their single Champagne Supernova, with Liam Gallagher sounding off-key in the performance and appearing to be antagonistic towards the crowd, changing the lyrics to "A Champagne Supernova up your bum," and making rude gestures towards the audience and his brother Noel, in addition to spitting beer all over the stage before finally storming off. All this tension set the scene for the group's second last show of the tour in New York City. The audience could see that the band was falling apart in front of them. That's not to say the Screaming Trees were free of tension either. Mark Lanegan was struggling with heroin addiction while feuding with the band's founding members Gary Lee Conner and Van Conner, but chose to remain in the group to feed his habit. At the same time, the Screaming Trees were finally getting their due with their album Dust breaking through commercially. Whatever issues the band was dealing with internally, it didn't show up on stage, as the band was also helped by future Queens of the Stone Age guitarist and vocalist Josh Homme, who brought a keen desire to bolster the group's live performances. Meanwhile, during Oasis's performance in New York City, guitarist Noel Gallagher sat so far apart from his brother on stage, it didn't even seem like they were part of the same show. Noel barely lifted his head to look at the audience or his bandmates. The same type of body language was shared by Noel's bandmates, who were upset with Liam's behavior. The only love Liam seemed to get that night was from the audience. And 3 days after the show, Noel Gallagher took a flight home by himself. The remaining 5 shows of the US tour would be cancelled. Getting back to the tweets, things didn't end with Liam's response. Lanegan would respond not once but twice, saying coke addicts or junkies too, you tool, the stupidest kind, still trying to make like you're hard. I could have then and still put serious hurt on you. Leave it alone, dickhead, unless you're actually ready to finally step up. He would go on to tweet once more saying Liam has never written a decent song by himself or with the teams of songwriters hired to do it for him. I would, however, gladly write with Noel. He was the one blessed with the talent, wit, and brains in the family. Following that Twitter exchange, Mark Lanegan would step back his comments a bit during an interview, saying, "The book doesn't reflect how I actually feel about Gallagher now. I see his clips on Twitter now and it makes me laugh. He's kind of an eccentric old uncle," he'd say. So that does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like button and subscribe. If you have suggestions for future topics, let me know in the comments section below. If you guys want to support my channel, simply watch another video or go check us out on Patreon. Take care.